can all see I'm wearing an orange sweatshirt. This is a safety feature you use while hunting during the deer rifle and muzzle loader season, so other hunters see you and you don't get shot. According to the International Hunter Education Association website, in North Dakota, it is required by law that when you are big game hunting with a firearm, you must have 400 square inches of fluorescent orange above the waistline and also something on your head. As I'm sure most of you have guns or at least have one in your household, most people use these to go hunting rather than for protection. But that is also starting to change with all of these new people moving into the areas and with increasing crimes. It is estimated that North Dakota is in the top 10 list of high population of gun owners, with a 50.7% of 2007. So I'm sure this number has increased quite a bit since then. I myself own a couple guns that I use to go bird, deer, and coyote hunting, or even just to go out and shoot at targets for fun. Gun control is not going to solve all the problems that society says it will. Today I'm going to be telling you about how getting rid of gun control will affect the environment. Also, how it won't solve the problems with the shootings, and also how they are a good thing to keep around for self-defense reasons. Let's start by talking about how much this would affect the environment. If the government were to take away guns, it would not be good for our environment. People would not be allowed to go hunting, and by not being allowed to go hunting, the animals would start to become overpopulated. By animals becoming overpopulated, this would cause many more problems for us. They would start migrating into our towns, which can be very dangerous. Also, there would be more car accidents involving animals, and that wouldn't be very good either. Another reason animals becoming overpopulated is bad is because they will start to run out of food to survive, and that leads to animals becoming extinct. Hunting is part of our food chain. It is another way for humans to get food. According to an article written by Media Tracker's staff, with the recent gun control laws in Colorado, it has affected the communities that revolve around hunting and fishing a lot. The people who have jobs based on the outdoor recreation have been impacted the most. The business for them is starting to go down and they are losing it to other states, which means the business isn't making as much money and they aren't able to employ as many people. Now that we understand what taking away guns could do to our environment and to the communities, I'm going to tell you about how this is not going to stop all the crimes that have been happening. Just because the government takes away guns does not mean they are going to completely disappear. If someone wants a gun bad enough, they will find a way to get one. Let's use Chicago as an example. According to an article by Kelly Bauer, it is often mistaken that Chicago is said to have the strictest gun laws in the United States, but they are actually said to have about the same regulations as almost any other state. When Chicago did have stricter gun laws and banned handguns, they still had one of the highest crime rates for violence. Having a stricter gun law is not going to help the crime rate. The murder rate involving guns has actually decreased lately, and the murder rate involving things like knives have actually increased. If people think that by taking away guns is going to help decrease the murder numbers, they might want to think again, because Americans are becoming more cruel and violent. According to an article by James Q. Wilson, there are federally required background checks before anyone can purchase a firearm. There are also other laws for purchasing a firearm. Some of them are only being allowed to buy one firearm a month, and also having to be at least 18. Now that we have gone over how taking away guns won't help the crime rate go down any, let's talk about how taking away guns could actually be making it more dangerous. By taking away guns, people think it is making it safer for people, but it can actually be making it more dangerous. We need to remember that guns can play a huge role in self-defense. Somewhere between 100,000 to 2 million cases occur every year involving self-defense. Many of these cases involve an administrator at a school having a firearm and using it for self-defense against a school shooter. One example dealing with the self-defense side of this would be the attack that just happened in Paris. I don't think it was a coincidence that they just happened to target somewhere with some of the toughest gun control laws in the world. By attacking this area, it is harder for people to fight back because they don't have a way to fight back. The way it is set up in France is their weapons are set up into categories. Category A is tanks and fighter planes, which is prohibited. Category B is anything shorter than a 47 centimeter, including handguns or semi-automatics with a removable magazine and a capacity larger than 3 rounds, and requires a sport shooting license. There are a lot of requirements for people to even get a shooting license, like being a part of a shooting club, going to a shooting range at least 3 times a year, and going to the doctor, who has to okay that you are mentally and physically stable to own a firearm. Category C is a universe of hunting weapons, with everything from bolt-action rifles and lever guns to 3-round limit, semi-automatic weapons with tilting non-detachable magazines. They are allowed to one of these by having a hunting license. This is very different from a shooting license in France. There's an exam you must take also to get this test. This exam tests you on safety, different types of animals, and other things like rules and regulation. A Category D firearm is basically anything that has been mentioned in the previous categories that hasn't been mentioned in the previous categories, like a pellet gun that is under 10 joules or over 10 is a Category C. As you can see, there are a lot of requirements when it comes to owning a firearm in France, and a lot of people don't think it is worth it to go through all the work of having to do all the tests and fulfilling the requirements. If these people would have had a gun, I'm not saying it would have stopped the whole thing, but it might have helped prevent it. Most of the time, even just pulling out a gun will scare someone off if they're trying to hurt you. Also, it is a sense of security. People tend to feel safer if they have a gun in their household. In America, our founding fathers came up with the Second Amendment, which states that a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed. This means that Americans have the right to carry weapons without consequences. This is how they wanted America to be, and I think changing that is going against what they wanted for us. In conclusion, today I have gave you 3 of my main points of why I think having more gun control is not a very good idea. In my opinion, gun control will not solve everything that everyone wants or thinks it will. We have looked at how it would hurt the environment, how taking away guns won't stop the crime from happening, and how guns can be used for self-defense. I hope that by sharing these facts with you, it will help you make a more informed decision as to why there does not need to be more gun control.